Field hockey descends upon Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The 2019 championship semifinal game number 1, pitting ACC foes. The number 1 seed and undefeated team in the country, also the reigning national champion, North Carolina, taking on Boston College, a 17-5 record. The Eagles' first trip to the semifinals. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Leah Secondo alongside Kara Lentz. And Kara, as we look at these two teams, Carolina has the resume, been in this venue, understands what the day is about. Boston College, a little bit different.
Yeah, it's certainly the first time making it to the national semifinals, so that brings with it a sort of relaxed nature to it. You know, a lot of these players, there's a lot of new stuff, the banquet last night, the environment, so that can also play in favor when you talk about being relaxed on the field, going against what is considered the Goliath of field hockey currently in UNC.
Team set to get on the field right now. Boston College will actually be wearing their home whites. What a week it has been for them, really, the last few weeks. Great send-off at BC the other day, the entire athletic department getting involved, and what a wonderful setting in Chestnut Hill as they made their way down here to Wake Forest University, home of Kelly Doughton, where she really garnered this field for 4 years and did some damage.
Yeah, and even the athletic director last night for Wake Forest at the banquet welcoming all the coaches here to the championship, but also welcoming head coach Kelly Doughton home to Wake Forest.
ACC Coach of the Year, bringing in her 17-5 Eagles squad. And for Coach Doughton, she will have a counterpart and someone who has really been a mentor to her in Karen Shelton. Coach Shelton in her 39th season, 691 wins, 22 ACC titles. And we are underway. So glad you could join us this afternoon for doubleheader action. Coming up a little bit later, we will have Virginia taking on Princeton at about 3:45 here on NCAA.com. Duvernois trying to work herself out of traffic right now as Boston College with that long throw in, trying to use their defense to set the tone for their offense there as Courtney Williamson will bring it in. Williamson trying to hit that big long ball, but taken back away by BC as they look for their first pressure inside the circle. Natalie trying to work the corner, and she does. Jamie Natal with the pressure there, and BC with a quick corner kill.
Yeah, in that quarterfinal game against Louisville, I did not see BC press too much, especially deep in the corner, and they didn't press effectively. I think it's going to be a focal point from the start of this game to put North Carolina into those deep corners, to put pressure on the ball. And the key for both teams, quick free hits. You have to get them on the move. You have to get the opponent on their heels. And here is BC with a quality opportunity here for an attack penalty corner.
Margot Carlin will insert the ACC Freshman of the Year. Carlin with the rebound and the score off of the quarter call, and the Eagles are on the board first.
The dynamic of the three role players that Boston College has at the top of the circle on their attack penalty corners is really fun to watch. Basically, any of these players can take a hit, sweep it down for the deflection, or an option pass at the top of the circle. Look how wide they're creating or forcing UNC to go on that defensive penalty corners. Those trails for UNC really are getting spread out on an option pass like that goes back down to the end line.
Great angle there by Margot Carlin as she scores her 19th of the season. Boston College on the board early here in the first. Again, we play 4 quarters this season in college field hockey, 15 minutes. And Karen Shelton had talked to us prior to the game about her concern, the Eagles jumping out, getting that momentum, that good feeling early, and how her team would respond.
You know, as I've seen throughout the course of the season, too, each quarter is just so different. Characteristically, BC, a strong first quarter team, and this is usually a quarter, especially on a national championship stage, where start to get some nerves out, a lot of back and forth, and not quite settled for either team. But you know, this is a very physical and hungry BC team, starting out on a high note.
Williamson with the side in. UNC comes in riding a 44-game win streak. And as a couple of the coaches noted, a nice job on a takeaway there on the crossing pass and broken up on the play. A hit coming out for UNC.
Well, these turnovers are turning into some pretty scary opportunities for BC. This defense for UNC is young. Casey Sumfest not being able to play this season with an ACL injury, rehabbing her way back, but there's a lot of youth back there, and some of these mistakes being made earlier in the game.
Charlotte Van Holtzen with some real high ball pressure there, Kara, trying to deny that ball being reversed back to the other side. Number 11 in white for Boston College.
And UNC is just so effective with how they build the ball from the back. That's really where the tempo and the pace starts for this UNC team. If you disrupt that, you really take a team out of rhythm. And BC just very effective right now. But I like the determination after the turnover, going very quickly, accelerating into space, and getting inside that circle.
You should note that in the middle there for UNC, number 18, Yenta Lehman's touching the ball. The defensive player in the ACC this season was questionable whether she would start today as she followed through with concussion protocol. I'm glad to see Yenta back out in the field. And he's giving the okay.
Actually didn't play in that second half against Iowa after a defense penalty corner. Of course, one of the key trail players for the UNC's corner defense.
Ball up to Matson. She's got some open space. Creator and Hayden is there. Hayden tried to redirect it slightly. Sarah Dwyer met her at the call there, and it just was enough to knock that ball off to the right side.
Key for BC in this game is going to be able to mark Erin Matson. And she's a threat whether she has the ball or whether she doesn't have the ball. Just love the selflessness of that player.
Big ball ahead to Natal, tries to open up. She has some space here. Natal trying to get it in, bounces up off of the stick. Play on, they call. BC looking for the corner. They won't get it. Kat Hayden trying to track this one down before it goes out. She does. Good hustle play there by Hayden. Gets the call as she puts it up into the defender and it'll go back.
You're going to see Gobert really all over the place.
Coming in for the Eagles, number 13, Nell Weber.
Winter taking it in, hard whistle there just outside the circle. As the Tar Heels start to play back up again. Big ball inside and Dwyer lets it go. Sarah Dwyer has been a great story. Came on midway through the Virginia game early on in the season at a time where BC was still trying to find their personality. Since that time taking over, she has been 9-3 in goal. The second best in the nation, goals against average and save percentage. Really one of the reasons truly why this Boston College team has made such a deep run.
And I think if you look at the teams that this BC team has been able to beat, you look at the Northwestern first round game against Benta Bockers. It's the second leading scorer in the nation coming into the tournament. Was able to shut her down. And then, of course, you know, you couldn't become any more of a tight race in that shootout win over Louisville. And if you look at some of this all-star players, Mercedes Pastor, one of those players, also able to shut her down. An incredible save in overtime. And, of course, really keeping the team in that victory with the shootout victory. Just a phenomenal effort from Dwyer.
Yeah, 2 OTs they went, 5-4 in the shootout. Certainly one of the best field hockey games to watch this entire season, no matter who you were cheering for. Duvernois will work it back now to Williamson. And the pressure continues. Hot pressure by Boston College. Are you surprised that you have a tendency to overplay a little bit, Kara, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see if that pressure on the press is going to be sustained throughout the whole game.
Matson with the flip to Kat Hayden, the easy pass across, and this is what UNC does best, the open field passing for the goal.
North Carolina goal scored by number 26, Riley Colmar.
He was has also been coming on strong this latter part of the season, been given the responsibilities. The finishing touch on that one.
Yentl Lehman's really started this play coming from the backfield, made it put all the way to the sideline. That opens up the center of the field and was able to find a connecting pass to Erin Matson. Great tic-tac-toe. They stay in position inside the circle. Those sticks are always ready for the UNC attack, and it's just nice team play coming from these Tar Heels.
6th of the year. We're all knotted up at 1 here.
I think a key for BC too in this game is going to limit the touches that Yentl Lehmans has on the ball, because she's so effective in what she can create. The vision of the field, such a fun player to play around too. Yeah, well, I think Matson is effective in the way that she can manipulate the defense on ball. She was able to get open in that because she had Gobert come all the way out to beyond the 23-meter, beats her with one step. I mean, those lead passes are key for Matson, and I think this team has a good idea of where they can lay those passes, what's reachable, what's playable.
Interesting, they're kind of flip-flopping Sky Karen and Feline Gobert against Fusine Gobert against Erin Matson right now, and it's Gobert with the assignment.
I mean, I've seen Gobert be very aggressive on that outside back position. Likes to join the attack, can really get up inside the offensive third of the field, but it's going to have to be a recovery. If she gets beats when she's pulled that high, it has to be a defense that's recovering hard and making sure that those weak side defenders are marking.
Abby Pitcairn on the field for UNC wearing number 16. She was recognized last evening as the Elite 90 winner. Kind of a surprise to her in the video that the team had on Instagram.
Coming in for the Tar Heels, number 21, Ava Smolar.
Athletes attending the championships at 3.86, and she's majoring in biology.
Now in for the Eagles, number 25, Maddie Dorn.
Gobert turns it over in a real tough spot on the field that the Tar Heels will have the ball back now.
I think especially with the defenders for BC, can't hold on to the ball too long. If those turnovers are happening inside the defensive third, that's really going to create a lot of problems throughout the course of the game. Great pull at the top of the circle by Matson.
Gunther trying to slam it inside the circle and just swept away by Boston College. So it'll be a side in it was tipped away up top.
Yeah, BC is going to have to really protect the middle as well. Look at the number of players they have behind the ball in this defense. That second slide or that double team is very ready inside the defensive third. That means communication must stay high and must be high when that ball is on the outside of the circle.
Closing in on under 5 minutes to go here on the first. Boston College, in case you joined us late here on NCAA.com, had a corner opportunity, scored right off it.
North Carolina, number 8,
tip
Catherine Hayes.
by Margot Carlin, making it 1-0, and then North Carolina responded. Riley Coleman finishing the touch off of some nifty passing on the open field to knock this one up at 1. Running out of the area there, so we sign in for Boston College.
Coming in for North Carolina, number 29, Megan Duvernois, and number 33, Marissa Creator. Now playing for Boston College, number 4, Jamie Natal.
With a big lefty chip. Oh, and it ricocheted, but it was not touched inside the circle. Erin Matson thought maybe it was.
Just along the perimeter of the circle. That looked pretty close, but you see how eager UNC is looking to feed that ball and serve the ball inside the circle from the 23-meter. I mean, as soon as those turnovers are happening just inside that 50, they're looking to go diagonal. BC is going to have to mind those passing lanes, but more importantly, if that ball's a little bit bouncy or in the air, you have to be able to play those rebounds and settle that ball. not have any deflections that could go to the attack inside.
Evidently didn't give the 5 on the play down on that one. The reason the Eagles awarded the ball.
I think a couple years ago I saw the aerial used a lot more often than it is now, and I think some of the calls where the thrower is throwing into a space, a dangerous space, is usually called back. So I started to see some teams kind of step away from that method.
Buttinger trying to work it around. Does not have the area, so it'll be a hit coming out for UNC as Williamson takes it. Courtney Williamson, an interesting story. Kind of bucked Karen Shelton about playing in that back area. And Coach Shelton telling us that she really had to work on her a little bit to convince her. But now certainly one of the keys to the defense, as a defense that lost a lot last season with the graduation of Morgan Getz and Ashley Hoffman. This group has come along nicely. Natal.
It's important as a defensive core to hit your stride at the right time. You know, if you just look at your daily practice regimen, when you divvy up into your positions, the way that you move the ball and the number of touches that you have with passing the ball, I mean, it's probably 60 to 70% you're working with your defensive team in those practices. So you start to have an ebb and flow with each other, and that just comes with experience. But UNC, characteristically and historically, they always have talented players in the back and defenders, whether they lose them to injury or graduation. This is a team that always has the players and the personnel to field a solid defensive core.
Up to the outside to Smolinars. Broken up by Sky Karen.
BC is going to have to be a little bit more aggressive when these UNC midfielders in attack first touch the ball. That presence, the physical presence, has to be sooner and up higher in the field. I mean, North Carolina's 2-3 touch game is pretty much untouchable, especially when they're going in numbers on that counter. They can really create a lot of havoc for the defense.
Lehman's trying to reverse with Natal right on her. Emily Buttinger working on Creator, who forces it back, and a little bit too handsy was Creator on that, so it'll be a hit for Boston College, and they may just run this first quarter out. Sky Karen looking for that big ball hit. Natal, she's got some time, Kara. Breaks over the 23, working back inside. The whistle is there for the Eagles if they can hurry. And that should do it for this first quarter of play. Welcome back to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Wake Forest University and the site of the 2019 NCAA Women's Division I Field Hockey Championship. Leah Secondo and Carol Lentz with you as we begin quarter number 2 with Boston College and North Carolina here in game number 1 of the semifinals. Boston College got on the board first off of the penalty corner, and North Carolina responded. You think this is the quarter where everybody just kind of goes, okay, we're all settled in now, you know, just kind of relax?
A lot of figuring out. I mean, that was definitely a tale of two different teams in the first quarter. UNC started to find their rhythm, their great open field passing, the 1-2 touch passing that they're so effective with. But obviously we see when BC can be effective is if they press hard and if they're getting inside the circle immediately. And I like the way that their corner works. I like the 3 personnel players that they have at the top of the circle. I think that's a great dynamic they have, and you start to build confidence if you're converting on these corner opportunities, so they just need to find a way to get a couple more.
Fusine Gobert will have the throw here, which she normally likes to do, right into the corner. Try to pin the defense in deep for Carolina, as they will have the side in. Once again, on the aerial throw, you really have to watch how you play the ball down and the spacing of the players around you.
I think when defenders are starting to throw it out of the backfield, I think that's a huge indicator that they're getting a lot of pressure. They're feeling the pressure coming from the press, and it's really the only way to alleviate those balls coming out of the back is to be able just to create some distance and some space and a breath. So I think that's good if you're looking at BC and how effective they are on that press. It's certainly a good indication.
Karen with a big sweeping ball down low. Worked into the circle. Looking for the corner call, and it finally is off of the held whistle. The advantage wasn't there for Boston College.
Yeah, and that's a great circle penetration as well for BC. They're coming on that right side end line, and I think they're being able to find the inside of the circle really well. They have to come with speed, and they've been able to counter quickly and get inside the circle.
Anna Hendry in goal, wearing number 30 for Carolina. She helps her defense set up. Hendry with a 1.03 goals against average this year.
I think one of the ways that this corner attack for BC works well is that first initial pass. There's a lot of ball speed coming from the insert to the top of the circle. Sometimes it doesn't even go to the stick stopper. It just goes directly to Sky Karen. But still, that ball is happening so quickly that they're able to pull off their play in a very short amount of time and not with much pressure coming from UNC.
Good low tackle there by Duvernois. However, the continuation on the play for the Eagles. Ball worked into the circle. Off of a BC body. It will be a hit coming out. Williamson taking it quickly up to Duvernois. This is what you talked about exactly. Those big, long balls ahead. Will Riley Fulmer track it down? She cannot.
But they're so well paced. I mean, that was still a playable ball. You know, I think that this team is very in tune with each other and how they can place those balls, how fast they can hit them, how far they can hit them. I mean, this is, a UNC team that no matter what they're gonna dive out on the turf. They're gonna give you their 100% effort.
Carlin, the ACC Freshman of the Year, working it inside the circle, facing Hendry, puts it right over the top of her for the goal. The Eagles with the lead. Very impressive.
It's great ball control coming from Carlin. I saw in the Louisville game a couple of missed touches coming from Carlin. She didn't receive it. It bumped into space. She didn't get a good touch on the ball, and it wasn't very playable. Here, this is dynamic. She gets into the field. She has great foot speed, and she has good composure over the ball. She's strong. She's athletic. She gets Hendry to commit, to come down, and just pops it over. Again, that end line, the right side end line for BC in their attack has been really effective in getting those open looks. And that was a wide open net.
And Romeo Ricardo, who's typically pretty good at getting her feet around, just unable to do so. Nice swing back inside.
Right.
Margot Carlin continues to have really a record-setting season as a freshman. Really has torn apart the books at Boston College this season. $20 goals now for Carlin, which is a freshman record.
And she's such a threat as an attacker as well, because she can not only beat you 1v1, but she's really effective with earning corners. I wish that was one stat that teams would keep, is the number of corners earned by each player. Because, I mean, that's a huge contribution to your team if you can come away with those corner calls.
Ball taken back by Boston College, worked inside the circle, broken up by Williamson and knocked away. Here's Erin Matson, the two-time Offensive Player of the Year, gets it up to the captain and Creator. She's got some space, trying to work on Dwyer. Sliding it back across to do defenders. A corner is called off of the foot. Matson was actually looking for a review, but the corner was called, reconnecting as the officials got together.
Just a little bit of time before that one was called. You have to respect the amount of running that Erin Matson does off ball. I mean, she received that ball around the 50-yard line. And again, that pulls the defense way out, so it opens up space behind the defense. Creator is always in great position to receive the ball as well. But UNC has to react. I mean, BC is really kind of in the driving seat, by taking these 1-goal leads. UNC has to be able to respond almost immediately, or else this game could really widen up.
Creator up top that worked that corner, number 33 on the circle. Had 2 goals in the championship game against Boston College in its 3-1 victory. Was named the most outstanding player. Megan Duvernois will insert for UNC. Leemans and Matson are your strikers up top. Set up for Matson. The big ball hit! And a rocket of a shot. What velocity! And we are tied up at 2. Erin Matson with the goal.
I'm not sure Sarah Dwyer even had time to see that ball. It was struck so fast. Quick backswing, and really just a good rhythm between the stick stopper and the primary hitter on these attack penalty corners. UNC being able to respond here in this game and keeping this game tied at 2 apiece. That's just great execution from everybody on the attack penalty corner for the Tar Heels.
28th of the season for Erin Matson. She is second with that figure in the single season records. And really, had Erin Matson, as the ball is tipped back into the circle here, had Matson not missed 3 games with her responsibility with the national team, very good chance she would have crushed those numbers.
And just knowing the type of player she is, that's probably not a stat that she keeps track of. She's very much a team player. And as we mentioned, a key point for BC in this game is marking Matson and being mindful where she is on the field. You can't defend it on the attack penalty corners. Because if she's lining up to strike like that, I mean, it's a heck of a shot. Directly into the corners, rattles the boards.
Tal trying to work her way around the circle. As Feline Gunther took it away, it is a side in for Boston College as they look to re-pressure back the opposite side here. Ten minutes to go in the second quarter of play. Leah Secondo, Kara Lentz, so glad you could join us this afternoon on NCAA.com for a coverage of both semifinals. About 3:45, Princeton and UVA waiting in the wings with an opportunity to play for a national championship on Sunday. Matson has Creator and Hayden. Kat Hayden sliding it across, and it's Creator with the finish and the goal. Tar Heels with the lead.
One skill set that Erin Matson has that's really impressive is how much her body is facing forward and her feet are facing forward before she receives the ball. That gives her an ability to separate from the defense with 1 or 2 touches, finds the open player, and again, that attack just sits very nicely inside the circle, well positioned, quick passing. It couldn't get any more of a team play than that.
And what can Dwyer do? I mean, there's only so much of the angle that you can cut off.
They can take the initial shot. I think if you have a player that is finding those open gaps, those open players inside the circle, I would have my goalkeeper probably take the shot and mark those other players. I mean, not even a rebound that Dwyer is even able to make a save.
3 different goal scorers for UNC. Creator now with her 15th of the season. Six times this year, UNC has had to play behind. Add that 7 with today's start. They've had to do it against Boston College twice this year, including this game. Here's Creator once again. Taken away, nice tackle there by Sky Karen. I really like, Kara, Sky Karen's size and her reach.
Yeah, she's really effective on those defense penalty corners, I think, as well. Her lateral reach, just because of her height, as you mentioned, is deceiving as an attacker. You're going to need to pull extra wide or do a double pull in order to get around a defender who has such a long reach. But, what's key for that is not overcommitting on that reach, because if you do, you're going to have that attack just blow straight by you.
Karen with nice sliding pass and a one-touch. And actually, some confusion here now as that ball ricocheted off of Lehman's. Weber taking that one up into her head. It's actually Elizabeth Warner, number 12, but still out there and matched up with Jente Lehmans in midfield.
Yeah, BC really wants to keep the ball to the outside mids and limit those touches coming to the center of the midfield as much as possible. That's when I think UNC is being effective, is if they can find the center of that midfield.
Molinars to Hayden, to Fulmer. And Karen breaks it up.
It's a second interception Karen has had while marking Matson. That's doing a nice job on the defense.
Might have touched off of Fulmer's foot. Play on. That one was definitely kicked. And Eagles will get the ball at around 23.
UNC comes with such pace and speed that as a defense, if there are players that are open where you're trying to mark, it can create havoc in a defense, which is the last thing you want with those deep defenders. You have to be able to stay composed because you need to make smart decisions with the ball. You can't have the outlet coming to the center of the circle.
Eagles try to work the ball that time into the middle of the field. And here is Lehmans. Ricardo. Broken up on the play, a hard whistle there. Karen Shelton looking for a card. Natal breaks it up. She's got Margot Carlin. Found her. Knocked away by Hendry.
Carolina, number 6, Fred Boyle.
Here's the quickness that you had mentioned, Carrie. UNC trying to work it out quickly against Boston College so they can't get that solid defensive pressure on the ball.
And that really just starts, it's got to be quick free hits. This decision making, the pace and the tempo has to be high, but that not only goes down to how fast you're playing physically, it's your mental ability, how quickly you're making decisions, how you're executing those decisions. I mean, the pace of play at this level has to be very high. Great outlet pass coming from the defense too, and Orobono. She's solid back there, doesn't really get rattled, doesn't get beat too often, and this is just a freshman in that center back position.
Karen Shelton telling us a little bit earlier this week she's really been pleased at how quickly Maddie Orobono and some of the younger players in the back, where maybe Ricardo, have adapted to the style of play.
Coming in from North Carolina, Feline Gunter. Now in for Boston College, number 13.
Broken up by Karen once again as she denies Erin Matson the ball.
And a UNC team that really has a commitment to that team defense. That's been a theme.
And it's tipped possibly by defensive player Erin Matson with the goal. And quickly, the Tar Heels with a 2-goal lead.
A lot of action happening at the top of the circle. But the quality of shots that UNC is placing on net, Sarah Dwyer really doesn't stand much of a chance. UNC's hitting those corners. It's a great take inside. And eventually the shot gets off by Duvernois. And I believe Matson redirected it. We'll get a better look here. Yep, that's a great tip. Keeps the feet moving, protect the feet. It's a nice little touch on the ball. It's precise.
Second goal of the day for Erin Matson. She now has 29 on the season. Duvernois with the assist. See how Boston College responds. Plenty of time here. Head to the 3:40 mark of this second quarter. It's been an extremely entertaining quarter and a half of field hockey thus far in semifinal game number 1. We expected it. This is the third meeting between these two teams. And a corner is called. Off of the feet, placed in the right spot.
You know, I think as you see across the nation, it's hard to beat a conference team once in season. It's really hard to beat them twice in the conference championship, the tournament championship. And it's also really hard to beat a team 3 times. And asked Karen Shelton about that, and she said, as her husband said, you only have to beat them once, right?
Willie Scruggs.
Boston College quarter taken by number 34.
As Kelly Doughton, there's great respect between those two coaches. As Kelly Doughton said to us, hey, they're one step closer to a loss every time they win. So. Margot Carlin with the insert.
The BC team came in very hungry.
Back to Carlin. Flipped up top, knocked down. Ricocheted back and out of play.
That's a great defensive save coming from Orabona. You saw her stick directly up in the air. That's a playable ball by the defense. Some tennis skills being showcased on that defensive corner unit.
Bridget Wood, who was scheduled to play in the senior game, ripping that one off the rebound up over the top of the goal. And that would have been tricky if it would have even been allowed at that point. Matson with the takeaway here. Slides it somehow back to Creator. Hayden picks it up though. Back outside to Fulmer. And tipped away. Nice defensive work there. It'll be a long hit for the Tar Heels by Sky Karen.
Yeah, that's going to be a great matchup to watch throughout the course of the game. Yeah, it's even hard to smart foul Matson. She's just so skilled with every deliberate touch and step is with purpose. So it's really hard to take this player out of the game in any way, shape, or form.
Karen Shelton had told us that Erin Matson's hands definitely have gotten quicker from her time with the national team and improving her skills. And there were days during the regular season as Gobert looks for an option where Matson would just go out on her own out to the field 6:30 in the morning because of responsibilities that she had with the national team to get certain training in. And those are the little things that help any player become better away from practice time.
You know, at the Division I level, you have the resources to be as successful as the work that you put in, whether that be academic support, athletic training support, recovery support, facility support. You have all the resources here to be the most successful Division I student athlete you can possibly be. That increases the expectations, I think, with these current athletes. To be able to perform, to be able to recover, to be able to do things, exactly as they're meant to be done.
And there's so many levels of support that have allowed these players, whether it's from the physical aspect, like you said, just getting stronger, different weight training programs. Matson with some room inside the 25. Her momentum keeps going. It will be a hit. Smolinar's trying to work hard here. Tipped off of Dwyer's feet. It'll be a long hit for UNC. Under 30 to go. Second quarter of play. Tar Heels with a 2-goal lead. And a long hit again. Under 20 now. Lehman's will take it. Hayden trying to work it in, trying to force that corner call. Nice job by Gobert as she will try to run the timeout. Great hustle effort by Gobert. Quick, though, as she must have gone out of bounds there on the side. And the first 2 quarters are in the books. Welcome back to Wake Forest University, home of the 2019 Division I Field Hockey Championship. We are awaiting the teams to come back out into the field for third quarter action between UNC and Boston College. 3/4 of your field make up the ACC conference this year, assuring at least one ACC school is going to be in the championship as the starters head back out. See Amanda Hendry leading the group of Tar Heels in the huddle. Sarah Dwyer heading back down towards her goal is Jamie Natal and Margot Carlin. A great combination. They were good friends in high school and have really continued on their prowess here in Boston College. So the third quarter is underway here at Wake Forest. 4-2 Tar Heel lead. We'll see how Sky Karen, number 5 for BC, and her Eagle teammates respond to this 2-goal advantage by the Tar Heels. Gunter. Sweeping shot inside that was just tipped there by Kat Hayden. That was a little bit of just token pressure there by Carolina, forcing that turnover as the ball will come back to the Tar Heels. Smolinars trying to get it up to Gunther. Feline. Sky Kieran once again breaking up the play. To Matson, though, with a reverse chippy. And a little bit too hot coming into the circle. Will be a hit coming out.
Not just a variety in the shot selection for Matson and some of these attackers, but also from where they're taking it inside the circle, just within inches inside that stripe. They are looking to place things on net. Extremely accurate in their shooting. I think everything we've seen today has been right on net.
Eagles looking for the call there as it goes back to North Carolina with the deep pass down low. Kat Hayden. Karen knocking it away. The ball will stay with the Tar Heels in the corner. Gunter has it slapped away. Romay Ricardo with her feet around the right way. That helps to get the ball into the circle as it comes in high, and off of an Eagle stick, it will be a corner for the Tar Heels.
And that's exactly what I mentioned in the first half. If BC is going to look to intercept some of these balls, especially if they're a little bit of a bounce, they can't give away those deflections, whether it be directly to the stick of an attacker for UNC or a lifted ball like that. These are really the specialty plays that BC has to limit.
Second corner opportunity of the game for North Carolina. As Duvernois heads down to take the insert. Defense is set now for BC. Matson with the hard rocket shot that tips off of a Eagle stick. It will be actually it was changed from a long hit to a corner. So a corner call after the initial long hit motion.
I think Dwyer, where her height really comes into play is on those direct shots, coming out on corners and laying down. She really takes up a large portion of the net. The trails for BC were impressive to me against the game against Louisville. They're smart. Their sticks are on the ground. They take up a ton of area. So those initial shots should be stopped by this BC team because of the quality trail players that they have and because of this goalkeeper.
Matson tried some trickery. And a break for UNC as that went off of a foot. Duvernois trying to slide it in.
Great job by Sky Karen. Broke her feet down, stayed in front of the play. Just a little bit of a miscue, rarely coming from Matson. That gives the defense a nice save.
Darcy Clement breaking it up. Smolinars. Gunter with a spin move inside. Long hit for UNC.
Great ball control just along the end line, too. Didn't even go out of bounds.
Tipped away by Sky Karen.
Good 1v1 defense, I think, throughout the course of this game for Sky Karen. I mean, you start to understand a player's tendencies, characteristics, if you see them 3 times in a year. And it's more or less having that premonition of the play that they're going to make. And that comes a lot with the familiarity of these teams competing in the ACC. And here they are in the national tournament.
Gunter trying to slide that pass in. You know, I find it interesting, Kara, that sometimes it's not the big ball passes that we're seeing UNC be successful in. You know, it's these soft passes, just taking that 1 second to look up, see where your teammates are, and just slide a nice easy pass.
You know, the best pass doesn't have to be the most impressive pass or the longest pass. You know, the best pass is just a simple one. If you keep simplicity involved in your game plan, it's easy to problem solve throughout the course of the game. If you're having trouble finding tempo or momentum, you can start to go back to these simple passes and simple passing.
Clement broke it up, got it up to Natal, back tackling by Gunter, and a held whistle. It will go as Natal tries to go quickly here inside the circle.
It's a great move, great decision, quick free hit inside the offensive third. That's really been a difference maker in the way that BC can get on the board.
Now in for the Tar Heels, number 26, Riley Fulmer. Also coming in for North Carolina, number 10, Caroline Goes, and number 16, Abby Bedcard.
Big sweeping ball up ahead by Sky Karen. Weber trying to find some space. Pressure there by Gunter. And Lehmans comes up with the ball in midfield.
Yeah, UNC has been effective with that press. They're really preventing that transfer from going sideline to sideline. And you notice also BC with some hesitation with even giving that initial back pass because they see that pressure coming from the other side. They haven't turned the ball over a lot in their defensive third in BC, so you got to take that chance.
Bridget Wood working hard but broken up on the play. And Renee Ricardo was really leaving just one player in between on that play that would have set up a 1v1 against Amanda Hendry, but broken up. Bridget Wood again. Weber couldn't get anything on it. Winter has to watch herself. She wasn't 5, got away with it. You have to be 5 away on a free hit. You may have heard the oohs and ahs from the crowd, wondering if that really had happened on that situation.
I mean, you have to be careful, too, of how you're fouling and defending those free hits when it's inside the offensive third, just because if the official deems it intentional enough or dangerous enough, that can be upgraded to a corner. I think both of these teams have a focus to get the upgrades when they're inside their offensive third.
Gunter, she's got some room. Feline walking in. Finds Matson, who rips a shot. She's got a hat trick on the afternoon. Erin Matson, and a 3-goal lead.
Yeah, this may have been deflected by another UNC player right in front of the net. We'll get a chance to get another look. But Matson always putting herself in a position to see a majority of the goal face. Great feed here by Gunter. Gets it directly to Matson and finds it past Sarah Dwyer. I mean, just how hard she can hit the ball and the strike she has on the ball. Just a couple seconds, no, not even a second, a third of a second to set that shot up. And connecting on the corners. She's been very efficient in connecting and hitting those corners. right past Dwyer.
30th of the season for Erin Matson, and a 3-goal lead here for UNC. Forced a corner call.
I think you start to see how well UNC can start to wear down a team. I mean, we still have a quarter and a half left to play, but don't see the same intensity or energy that BC had to start this game. And there's not pressure on the ball. Matson was open directly in front of the goal cage inside the circle. You know, these things start to become more exaggerated and pointed out as the game goes on, which just goes to show how tactful UNC is. And it's really, it's a big job to hold them off for 4 quarters, and nobody's done it this season.
Redshirt freshman Romay Ricardo forcing that corner to be called. Number 16, Abby Pitcairn, the Elite 90 award winner, will insert here for UNC. Lehmans and Matson, your strikers. Lehmans slides it to Matson. She's got some space. Creator's shot is denied. So close, yet so far. Off of the far post. A little bit of decretry there by Erin Matson.
And just good defense, I think, coming from those trails again for BC. Dwyer pretty much marking that far post attacker for UNC. I think overall, the defensive coordinator has done quite well for BC, given the amount of pressure that they've been under.
Carlin goes, number 10 now with the ball.
Now in for Boston College, number 9, Kendall Hanlon.
Margot Carlin trying to thread one down the side.
Now into the Eagles, number 15, Fusine Gobert.
Here's Carlin trying to work herself into the middle of the field, has some room, flips it inside the circle. Williamson throws it back out. Crossing pass is denied there by Romay Ricardo.
UNC has plenty of defenders behind the ball. There's no loose attacker getting behind that defense for BC.
Lehmans falling as she tries to cut back in.
She really covers such a wealth of the field. Always there for that support defense for the double team. Comes from end line to end line. I mean, her game load must be the highest on the team. And her endurance.
Ball knocked away to be a long hit for the Eagles as they try to work a little bit faster here. Sky Karen with some space. Darcy Clement, who actually scored her first collegiate goal in the semifinals of the ACCs. Creator has Matson. Passes it back to Erin Matson. Creator trying to slide up top. It goes all the way across. Gobert trying to now work herself out of traffic with Duvernois on her. Given right back to the Tar Heels. Matson is ahead. Reverse shot over the top and a hit coming out.
Give her an inch and she'll make it 10 yards. So explosive when she's inside the circle. A couple turnovers now, a little too risky for BC, including one inside their attacking third, trying to have one of those soft passes entering the circle, but UNC is just too disciplined in their defense. Now you can really sense BC trying to play catch-up and becoming a little chaotic and sloppy with their decision-making.
Bridget Wood with the hard pass ahead. And no chance at all for Elizabeth Warner, who was a little bit upset, finally gets the call as Gobert.
Would like to see her join the attack a little bit more. I think you pretty much have the green light as an outside back, especially when you're trailing in a game, to have more power on that attack, to give yourself a little bit of a spark. Those outside backs can really do a lot in jump-starting that energy.
Eagles trying to sustain some sort of an attack here. Bridget Wood looking ahead, trying to work quickly. In an area of the field that's just log jam with players right now. Held whistle, Natal will work quick. Ball up ahead, but too far ahead. Kendall Handler could not make a play on it.
And Bridget Wood is more like a silent worker, I think, for this BC team. Doesn't get a lot of touches on the ball, but certainly her defensive marking in that screen position is effective and is a lofty a goal each game to be able to take over that center mid.
Margot Carlin slows the play just a little bit.
I mean, that's what you have to do against UNC that has such a great possession game. You have to slow them down from the first touch. You have to give a little bit of an elbow. You have to slow down the play. You have to foul them.
Ricardo now trying to throw one upfield, plays down nicely by Darcy Clement. Gobert. Emily Buttinger trying to work it to the outside, and too far outside for Jamie Natal to pick up as we are under a minute to go here in the third.
Telegraphing the passes a little bit too much. You have to track one way and pass the other. I think just going a little north and south, not really giving this defense a difficult time when it comes to those passes.
Fomer up to Hayden. Doesn't have the numbers as Karen marks Matson pretty tight and breaks up that play. Just knocks it away. Ball back to the Tar Heels. Hayden trying to spin through two defenders. Smolinars. She puts it into the feet of an Eagle, and Sky Karen will look up at the scoreboard and just let time run out here in the third quarter of play. Do the Eagles have something left in their historic season of play for another comeback of the year? A season which has watched them with 4 wins in conference play, the highest ever, the highest seeding ever, the highest ever in the polls at number 7. Their first ACC championship game, 2 NCAA wins coming into today, and their first ever Final Four. Or will the streak go to 45 for this UNC squad? Clement breaks up the play on Creator. Now with the clock on their hand, on their side, Kara, wouldn't be surprised if a little bit more time is taken when need be.
Yeah, still
5 this UNC team?
quite a quite a lot of hockey to be played, and it goes by quickly now. The quarter system, of course, at times stops for the corners. But, you know, UNC, I think at this point over the past couple of years, 2 years, it's the game management and these tournament scenarios that I think really benefit these experienced teams.
Now in for Boston College, number 13, Nell Weber.
Seeing Lehman's really go back for the pass and get it out to the side more often than not. And I think that's indicative of how well BC is marking in the center of the midfield. They want that ball to go to the outside mids, and have C. Lehman's kick the ball back almost immediately after receiving it.
Trying to get some of those big ball plays ahead are the Eagles now in the open field, and that too can be extremely dangerous. Gobert has it tipped away, and the ball will stay with Carolina here.
Yeah, and Gobert is a versatile player. She can play in the center of that defense, in the midfield, or at the outside back position. You know, that's really a player that you want to have on your squad. And with those in-game adjustments, I think with the quarter system, the problem solving that happens on the field benefits veteran players and experienced players, because you're not getting that feedback or giving it to your coaches with those timeout calls. Everything has to be done with that personnel in the field. And that's also where the subbing rotation comes into play. With the more you sub in and more you sub out, that feedback is more coming from the players to the coaches about what they're seeing. That's giving them valuable information in the game to make adjustments. Or to put players in different positions. It's been really interesting to see how the season has played out. In the corners, I know I'm personally a big fan of how the quarter systems have been. I think the intensity, the pace of the game is a lot higher.
Emily Buttinger trying to find an option as that ball comes all the way across. It is certainly, the quarter system has certainly had teams like think a little bit more without the timeouts, and one thing the coaches have said consistently is that it forces the players on the field to work issues out themselves.
Right. Yeah, I think it gives a lot more ownership to the players. I think we started to see that with the integration of the video review, because that is a dialogue and a conversation with the officials. And now with the quarter system, it's even more, I think, of a player's game. One aspect of Erin Matson's game I've noticed this year more than last is her defensive presence, the way that she's back tackling to the ball, but not overcommitting. It's enough pressure to have the ball carrier feel like they're under pressure. She gets her feet around, she gets in front, and you know, you'll talk to any team, and that the defense starts with the first line of attack. But Matson really works extra hard to place that pressure on the ball.
Here's Lehman's. Slides it across. Nice flat pass. They've got Fulmer ahead. Here's Riley Fulmer. Knocked away by Sarah Dwyer. The long hit.
Dwyer hasn't gotten many touches on the ball in this game. It's really the defense in front of her that's coming away with some of these saves. You have to get into a rhythm and a repetition, and if you can see some more shots often, that will certainly help with your confidence.
Natal looking for options.
Not many around. See a really stagnant BC team, none of the overlap runs or stretching the field out without UNC taking away that passing lane.
Into Lehman's. He's trying to work it out of traffic there. Natal with pressure back to Lehman's now. Buttinger. All trying to work it in, and a corner call for the Eagles. And when timeout is called, they are going to take a look at it.
going to be a team referral used by UNC.
Each team gets a referral. Be done on play inside the. Pick it up here. Looks pretty obvious.
Going to key in on number 5 in blue, Orobono. And, you know, it looks like that ball actually went off the grip of her stick and not her leg. But the officials will be able to get a closer look at this.
So if you win it, you retain it. If you lose it, that's it. You're done with your referrals. As the umpires are over the table taking a look at it.
I think it's a little hard to get the vantage point from the higher camera angle because you can't see the inside of her body that's directed toward the end line. Nonetheless, BC has been effective on that end line penetration coming from that right side. Again, they've been able to come away with a couple corner calls. I think if you're scouting this UNC team for that second semifinal game, the winner of that, you have to look at how well BC has been able to get inside those circles. That's going to be an area of the field that you want to execute.
UNC wins the referral, so they will retain it. So obviously that ball was put up into the defender's feet. Her body a little bit too high as Matson works on Karen here quickly. Little give and go action and nicely done and broken up on that play by Charlotte Rasmussen. Pitcairn can't
After reviewing the play, the umpires have determined there will be no penalty corner. North Carolina retains their video referral.
Williamson under pressure from Natal. LeMay Ricardo slides it up to
now in from Tar Heels, number 29, Megan.
Not much pressure at all coming from BC either. I mean, the ball speed for UNC is also really high, always has been. So the area and the coverage that BC has to cover on that press is a lot. That really starts to wear down on you as you continue through the 4 quarters.
Gunter breaks up the play. Karen Shelton had told us that she's probably playing her best hockey of the season, and much in part for Feline as a senior, being able to finally garner that job and get that aspect of the next chapter of her life set aside and be able to focus completely on hockey.
Coming in from North Carolina, number 33,
who could have been easily the recipient of the Elite 90 award.
Now playing for the Tar Heels, number 6, Bryn Boylan.
Student in the business school and has seen her game and her play improve this season. A lot of that had to do with her ability to be interviewing at a finance firm in Charlotte. Has done a lot for her confidence off the field, which certainly translates into your ability to play.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of hard work.
Here's Creator. She has Boylan, and that ball works all the way across. And actually will come back to the opposite side where the infraction took place. Sky Karen will take the hit. Oh, little chippiness there as Lehmans and Wood go after the ball. Margot Carlin picks up the loose ball in open field and has it poked away by Avis Molinars. Up to Matson. Crafty handwork here. She works herself in the middle of the field, eliminating players along the way. And it is a third-party obstruction call. I was wondering if that was a large enough gap and space there, but they do call it. We are 5 minutes to go in this match. Winner going on to take on either Princeton, the Ivy League representative, or Virginia in Sunday's championship round.
Phenomenal year for the ACC.
Here's Creator down low, walking right in on Dwyer, and on the rebound, the shot, Erin Matson with her 4th goal of the game.
I think also as the game wears on with that fatigue, you start to ball watch as a defense, and that leaves those players open in front of the circle. Can't talk enough about the field positioning for these attackers. Creator, great job, great vision, finds the opposite post, enough of a bouncing ball that she was able to get it through the defense, but Karen too far away from Matson. I mean, that physical marking really has to be evident.
That is the one thing that has eluded every opponent this year on the Scout. How do you stop Erin Matson? Can you stop Erin Matson, or do you just try to limit the success of everyone else around her? But how do you do that? How, you know, that's really been the missing piece.
I mean, she's a fantastic goal scorer. She's accurate with her goal scoring. She's great with her creative looks on net. Has put in so much work to become the player in just her sophomore season at UNC. We have a lot of field hockey to be seen from an excellent player.
Matson ties a season high, with 4 goals. She had 4 against JMU earlier this season in a weekend series that was on the road where UNC took care of Virginia on a Friday, 5-0, and then went across the mountain to JMU, James Madison, and handily took care of James Madison 9-0. Now we're seeing some changes by Karen Shelton. Alex Helton, the senior, will get into goal here to finish this one out, making her 10th appearance of the year. 2 very capable goalies, 2 goalies that have been in this venue. Certainly, Karen Shelton and her team can start to feel the opportunity now. They'll have the day off in between to get back into the championship game. Erin Matson also out of the lineup now for the Tar Heels. And a whistle outside for the Eagles.
I think one of the mindsets that has helped this Carolina team get through to this point, second undefeated season, is the humility that this team has, and also the respect for each and every opponent. I think all coaches would agree that across the country, any team is beatable on any day. I've seen great parity across the nation this year, and the competition that's been existing across Division I. So it's never going to be a cakewalk, and if you're the number 1 team, you're going to have that target on your back. You're going to get everybody's best game every single time. And it's important to keep the preparation consistent into each and every game. Each game is not different. Can't make it any bigger or smaller than it may appear to be. And I think the humility has really aided this North Carolina team.
This is an area of the game that Carolina has certainly improved. Halpin seeing her first chance on a corner for Boston College off of this insert. Karen to Gover, and they score off of the tip. Did Butcher get her stick on it will be the question. But a nice job and a finish. They've been efficient on their corner opportunities, those set pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. And just, again, those 3 role players at the top of the circle. It's a great lateral pass to Gover. It looks like it did go off a defender's stick for UNC. Key on number 21 in blue. Just a little bit of a touch off the defense, but goes into the net. BC able to walk away with something later in the game that they can be happy with.
Number 11,
just have been really effective on their attack penalty corners in this postseason.
Number 27, Rudy Leonard.
2:10 to go. We're trailing by 3. The window is small. Do you consider pulling Sarah Dwyer? It's a new point. Just run it through and just hope you get a couple of good shots.
Yeah, I think you have to keep Dwyer in that net, just because UNC is too opportunistic when they can get inside their attacking third.
But you're trying to work hard quickly here with no options coming back to the ball. Smolinar's just backing herself down into the corner with slight pressure there by Elizabeth Warner. Ellen Payne will take the hit for UNC. Davis Molinar's working it to the outside now. Under a minute to go in this game with UNC in a commanding lead and heading back to the championship game. What a great run here by Boston College, no question this season, Kara, especially down the stretch, the way that they have just really put themselves, Kelly Doughton's team, on the map and being a true contender in the ACC.
Yeah, it's been great to see what that university has been able to do. You know, if you also look at their conference championship, they hosted it. They were able to get into the final. We saw this on TV and you calling it, but what a great atmosphere it was at Boston College. I mean, that's a tremendous accomplishment for a school and a university that competes in one of the most competitive conferences in the country, right?
Courtney Williamson now, they back it down. 16 seconds to go as UNC will head back to the championship game. A scenario where they have an opportunity for back-to-back titles now in the championship. Celebration starting on the sidelines for the Tar Heels. And they close this one out, heading back to the championship game this afternoon with a 6-3 victory over Boston College.
The final score of the 2019 NCAA Division
Erin Matson with 4 goals on the afternoon. The second time this season that she has garnered 4 goals. Great offensive effort. That's a little bit of a slow start by the Tar Heels. And Boston College again ending their season 17-6. Super run by the Eagles as they close out the year, their first opportunity here at the Final Four.
Yeah, you know, UNC, talking with Karen Shelton before the game, usually the first quarter, you know, she does these hand mannerisms going back and forth, right? But was able to find their rhythm. Their work's not done. You know, this one is done. It's in the books, but their work for that second national championship consecutively is far.
The win streak is at 45. Who will UNC play on Sunday? Well, it will be either Princeton or UVA. That match is coming up at 3:45 on NCAA.com. So for our entire crew, my broadcast partner, Kara Lentz, I'm Leah Secondo. So long. We'll see you at 3:45.